Hey there, welcome to LSAT Demon Daily. I'm Nathan Fox, one of the founders of lsatdemon.com and the weekly podcast Thinking LSAT. With me today is Josh Mansfield, a teacher with the Demon and a current law school 1L. We have an email here from Jennifer. The subject is, a self-aware listener. I did it all wrong. That's in all caps.
Hi guys, I really enjoy the podcast and the way the Demon is set up to help me learn. I graduated with a BFA in 2012. I started working for a workers' comp law firm in 2009. I basically had the job as a legal assistant. I worked for that firm full-time for 15 years, the last 7 of which were as a billing specialist. I also handled the billing for 4 other law firms on a contract basis for the past 6 years. This past year, I took a new full-time billing position at a large civil lit firm, which I absolutely love. I've been approached a few times by one of the big wig partners asking if I've considered going to law school, which I had. I said if they pay for it and continue to pay my full salary, I'd go. He didn't seem opposed to the idea, but of course this was in a lighthearted, joking manner. There are only 3 law schools to choose from in Oklahoma, one of which is just a few blocks from my office at Oklahoma City University. So that is the only ideal option since I am now 37, married, toddler, all the jobs, mortgage, own a local business, etc. So basically, long story short, I did it all wrong. I signed up for the November LSAT on the very last day you could, because it was just my way of saying do it instead of thinking about it. I did not give myself any time to study, and I rushed through and wasn't really learning.
That's very common. I mean, a million people do it that way. It's like, it's not the end of the world. You just wasted one of your 5 allowable attempts. So there's no problem. Pick up the pieces unless you continue to compound that mistake.
Right.
That's
Did
really
you do
not
3 more times after
world.
that? Yeah. I randomly found the Demon while searching for podcasts and signed up. First diagnostic was a 144 and second worst 141. I just tried to rush through because I super suck at reading comp.
You just need to slow down, Jennifer. Just slow down, period. There's no way you've been as successful as you've been in law for as long as you've been there and actually suck at reading comp. That's just, it's not possible. Also, reading comprehension is only 1/3 of the test. There's 2 sections of the test that are called logical reasoning, so they're not even what you think of as reading comprehension. You're rushing through, you're not really understanding what you're reading, your timeline is too short, and you're rushing during the timed sections. So you just got to pump the brakes. You're 37 now, so you're going to start law school when you're 38 or 39. Who cares? What difference does it make? You're going to graduate law school when you're 42 or 43. You're going to practice law until you're 67 or 68. Who cares? You just need to take a breath and just calm down, slow down. Anyway, I took the official LSAT, got a 145, so not unexpected, right in her practice. Definitely not unexpected. You signed up for a test that you were not at all ready for.
And took 2 practice tests in the 140s.
You didn't learn anything probably because you were just racing everything, telling yourself bad stories about how you suck at reading comprehension. I mean, if you really think you suck at reading, then don't be a lawyer. But I don't believe you. 144 is actually not a bad diagnostic. You don't suck at reading. You have bad LSAT strategy. So that 145 on record, who cares? You're just going to have to take it again and score higher.
Oklahoma City University, OCU, LSAT median looks to be a 151 with a GPA of a 3.47. My GPA was a 3.13. I know I can get a 155 with more studying, but I'd love to get a 160 or 165.
I agree. That's a totally reasonable goal.
Yeah.
And with a 144 diagnostic, I would not settle for anything less than a 160. You're shortchanging yourself if you settle for anything less than a 160, but you just need to make sure you see 160s on your practice test scores before you sign up for another official test.
Right. She asks, could I get in with a 145? Maybe, but I'd be paying full price. And if I've learned anything from you guys, clearly it's don't pay for law school. That's good start. Good thing to learn there. Even if my employer decides to help me out when I work up the courage to professionally discuss my options, I'd love to save them some money too. Well, and I that conversation, even if it's not about saving them money, that conversation just becomes easier when you go to them and say, tuition at this school is normally $30,000. I've gotten a scholarship to cover half of it. Could you cover the other half? Like, then it sounds like they're getting a killer deal. And even if the nominal tuition is fake and they give scholarships to everybody, using that scholarship as kind of your negotiating point when you ask your employer to help pay for it, I think is going to make your life a lot easier.
Oklahoma City University gives full rides plus stipends to 4% of their class. They give an additional 14% of the class something more than 50% off. They give all but 29% of the class some type of a discount. So, you need to make sure that you're going for the right price. And with a 145, this school might actually admit you. I mean, their 25th percentile is only a 148. So they actually do admit people with very bad LSATs and, official LSAT. That's not a bad starting LSAT, but that is a bad official LSAT. And they will admit some people like that. Those are the people who are going to be paying full price at that school. Also, if that's legitimately the best LSAT you can get, you're going to have a hard time in the academic competition at school anyway. So, this is an opportunity, Jennifer, to prove it to yourself and to your employer that you've got what it takes. I believe that you've got what it takes, but you haven't demonstrated it so far. You didn't demonstrate it in undergrad. I know that was a long time ago. That ship has sailed. That's fine. But you really got to put the work in and demonstrate excellence on the LSAT. If you do, it'll save you tens or hundreds of thousands of dollars by the time all is said and done. You'll convince your employer to keep you on while you're in law school, help you out if they don't give you a full ride. Just no reason not to get a 160 something.
She says, I don't have any major questions, but the only one she has at this point, on the official test, is it better to leave the remaining questions unanswered or go through and randomly pick for the purpose of hopefully getting a few of them right?
No, you'll get 1 out of 5 right just from
Yes.
randomly guessing. So
There's
you're
no
crazy
penalty.
to not. Yeah. And in fact, you should practice bubbling in your guesses. What we always recommend at the Demon is when the 5-minute warning pops up, you just click answers for the rest of the section and then go back and spend the remaining 5 minutes working on 1 or 2 more questions. You will not have time to do 10 questions in the last 5 minutes, but you might be able to do 2 or 3. And then on those other questions that you just didn't have time to work on at all, you're going to get a few of those right. And that will materially affect your score. You can score 160 with only doing 16, 17 questions per section, probably, if you get them all right and randomly guess on everything else. It's easier than you think. You just got to slow way down and start understanding what you're reading instead of guessing on everything.
Yeah. And to your point, like, this is something and a skill that I presume that as a legal assistant she has developed. It's now about ignoring, I think, the worst test taking instincts of skimming questions, reading answer choices first, right? All of the stuff that you hear as the gimmicks, because at the end of the day, I would trust that a legal assistant like Jennifer has the skills, and so she doesn't need the gimmicks.
How can
nobody
for
needs the
that
gimmicks.
long in a law office, various law offices? How can you keep getting retained and promoted and having all these opportunities, having the actual lawyers in the firm ask you why you haven't gone to law school, or if you ever thought about going to law school? If they're asking you those questions, it's because they know you can do it.
Yeah.
You just now have to play the game with much, much better strategy. To that end, can you read the last thing she says?
Yes. Yep. Anyways, thanks, guys. I appreciate the Demon and your approach to this stupid test.
Okay, you have to stop saying that.
Yep.
That is not good. That's you're convincing yourself that the test is arbitrary. You're convincing yourself that it's painful, it's not fun, it's this stupid test. I just don't know anybody who has eventually done well on the LSAT who hasn't learned to love it, or at least like it.
Yeah.
It feels stupid to you because you're just not understanding what you're reading. And if you started to understand more of what you're reading, you'd realize that it's not arbitrary at all. There's one right answer, there's 4 wrong answers, and you can do it. You just have to do it.
LSAC regularly likes to reiterate about how important the LSAT is as a predictor of success in law school.
Oh yeah.
On the one part, I mean, it's advertising, right? Like it's continuing to like cement their importance as the gatekeepers to law school.
Doesn't mean it's false though.
Doesn't mean it's false. And I just like I remark regularly the ways in which my LSAT studying and teaching makes me a better law student. And that's not to mention the fact that law firms use logical reasoning questions in screeners for competency tests these days. Like there's just another, addition to that point. But my approach as a student is informed by my approach as a student of the LSAT.
Yeah, it tests English, basic logic, and how hard you can work. And all 3 of those things are very important for law students and for lawyers. So I know you've got it in you, Jennifer. You just have to slow way down. Don't sign up for the February test, or probably don't even sign up for the April test. Not until you see practice test scores that are like 160 or higher. Once you see scores 160 or higher, then you can sign up for whatever the next official test is and the one after that, so that you can treat, going forward, you've got 4 more shots at it. So there's no reason to think that you should, you're not in trouble. There's no worry here.
Yeah, no.
But you don't want to just take it 1 more time. You want to take it at least 2 more times, and possibly 3 or 4 more times, so that you don't have any anxiety on your official attempts. You're able to just treat each one as just another practice test for the next one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Write us back in, Jennifer. Let us know how it goes.
Please. Thanks for emailing in. Email daily at lsatdemon.com if you'd like to ask us a question or share some LSAT or law school admissions news. Thanks for listening.